podcast from Drew and Mike is, I think it's really cool, and that is what I wanted to say.
Two and a mic. The passion for storytelling has been the same ever since the first cave people sat around a fire and listened to the fantastic tales of the hunt, the adventure, the victory, the defeat, the slaying, the defending in packs, the attacking in form, and application of tactics. But there have been steps forward that have brought stories from different places to wider audiences. Lively Story is the next print press. It is the next to digital print. It is the next medium for all, and it is the next all kinds of media in a single story. Lively Story is the intensification of a tale to deliver thrills and emotions with sight, sound, and feel. It is always a pleasure to listen to and speak with Julia Books, as I have called her. She brings such passion to the project you can hear just how committed she is to everything that Lively Story does. Thank you, Julia, for your time, and I'm already looking forward to number 4. Enjoy. I'm joined by Julia, who I've termed Julia Books in my phone. This is number 3, Julia, so obviously it wasn't too painful the last 2 occasions.
No. It's nice to be there every time. I like it a lot.
Wonderful. All right, I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, we stay in touch, obviously, but we don't always have the chance to do a podcast, and so I am familiar with some of the things that are happening in the background, but you have been very, very busy, haven't you?
Yes, it's been a long year, 22. It's been an eventful year, and a lot of new things happened, a lot of good things happened, and I'm happy to tell you about all the things I'm able to talk about, because there are a lot more which I obviously can't talk about right now, but I think for number 4 in the future we will have some things to talk about too.
I'm really looking forward to. I mean, because I think most of these things I don't even know about. So but you kind of hinted at certain directions, and it sounds really, really exciting. So I think our 4th episode is going to be absolutely cool as well.
Yeah. It's much cooler than today, I guess. But today will be cool too.
Yeah, good. So what kind of things can you talk about? So what has been happening then that you can tell us?
I don't know if it was smart to start with the cliffhanger, but the most important thing that changed last year was that we got a new CEO on Jasmin's side. So that's Stefan Lehmann. Stefan came originally from the theater and entertainment sector, and he was the CEO of Cinemax theaters here in Germany. So he gave us a bigger view and changed our focus from books to more entertaining, more thinking bigger, thinking of books, not only of books, but of movies too. And so we were in London last year in May for the VLE. It's a fair for licensors, and it's one of the European biggest one. And we talked to a lot of really, really cool people and made a bunch of new contacts we are still talking to and working with. And so we reorganized everything behind the scenes. We also edited a lot of our stories because of the new way of storytelling we want to do, and made a lot of organizer things which aren't that funny, making a pitch deck where Lena saved our lives because she made my English into a proper English. And that's that kind of stuff. So obviously, from the outside perspective, we're on a break, on hold till July to sort everything out and make everything nice and neat and clean, and have all the stories polished. And so the biggest difference is that we said we want to have medias at least 50% of the story. So it's really changing from the text focusing to an all over, with the calls and the videos and the music. And so it was a lot of work to redo all the stories, which were chat-based, which was a little bit tricky, but I think we made it very well. My colleagues made it very well. When I say we, I mean them. And that's what we've done. And since November, we are making fun stuff like business plans and pitch decks and looking which path we will take and looking for investors and how to grow this year, obviously, and get a few people to our team. So it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it sounds it. I mean, you and I both love books, so I'm never going to change your name in my phone. So you will stay Julia Books, not Julia Entertainment. So I hope you don't mind that.
I'm totally fine. I'm still writing books too.
Yeah, good. But what it also does, as you said, it opens up certain different avenues. But it must also be said that even before this sort of new pathway, there was a lot of inherent media within the lively story format. So as in, okay, I get that there's a lot of work that's going on in the background to obviously add different elements. But on the other hand, it's not such a big change because you were already there, weren't you, more or less?
Yeah. It's just adding a little bit more. So because if you talk to people from the movies and the series, they all want to see more movies, moved pictures, and that's why we said we define a certain amount of media in the story to have a proper image, which is then for the outside. So
Yeah, cool. So you've also obviously got some technical wizards also hard at work in the background. So
yeah. Oh, we have a lot of ideas and we have a lot of questions for our tech guys, which we want to do this year and in the next year. So I always say I have a big file of wishes which I want to have in Lively Story in the app for the possibilities, and we asked for them for the price for a few things, which is very cool. There are some smaller changes. So we want to have different colors for the bubbles, or if you have an incoming call, that it looks more like a call from the iPhone with the image in the background, and that if you have a chat and a new message from another chat partner comes in, so you see it like you are used to, that the banner goes down and says hello and here is another chat and things like that. And Yeah, also some bigger changes, which I'm obviously not yet allowed to talk about.
Damn.
So there's the cliffhanger again.
There's going to be a lot of cliffs in this episode.
Yeah, because we also want to make it interesting for kids, and which is a big thing for all of us, because we all have kids between the age of 1 year and 16. We want them to read, and we want to give them the love for the books we have in a different way, because my daughter loves Wattpad. She doesn't read normal books, and I want her to read well done material. So it's better for the grammar. It's better for everything, for her learning, and that's why we said we also want to make something that's really edutainment, and give kids the opportunity not only to read but to enjoy it fully. And we've seen it with a lot of kids in the past with our kids stories, like Woodwalkers. They all said it isn't like reading. It's fun. They read, obviously, because they have to, but with the movies, the videos inside, and the sounds, it's a lot more entertaining. And so that's something we want to focus on too, the edutainment factor.
Yeah. And the reason why I sort of introduced this section of our cliffhanger by saying that we both love books, the book industry is quite reluctant to change, and that's fair enough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of purists in the book industry. They love the industry that is, and we love the book industry too. But we, as you said, not everybody wants to have a reading experience based upon the same kind of reading experience that a kid had 100 years ago. So, this is the point. You can, today's kid is tomorrow's reader, but they're not necessarily going to take the same traditional path, are they?
It's like they said when we were kids, oh, you're reading comic books, that's not reading, which is completely nonsense. You are reading with pictures, and we take it a step further, and they have all their phones in their hands the whole day, starting from the elementary school till our age. It's something that is beside you every day, all day. And then why don't use it for something useful instead of playing the 356th online game, or playing snakes, which is obviously not a fun game anymore.
I was going to say, I haven't seen snakes in a long time. Yeah,
I loved snakes.
yeah. But the okay, on the one hand, we've got this quite traditional, shall we say? Because it's a more positive word, because I want to refer always to the reading industry, the book industry, in a positive sense.
Yes.
So we've got this traditional industry. On the other hand, we've got this very broad sort of, not quite one size fits all, but every size fits in entertainment industry. And it seems to me that everybody there is looking for the next big idea, or how they can match this idea with that idea, and so on. And do you feel it's just easier to operate in that kind of atmosphere?
Yes. Because the experience we had in the last few months is that they see the possibilities we offer with our app and with Lively Story, and they are open to new ways of entertaining, because the whole way of how we get entertained is changing at the moment. So you see the classical TV like we used to when we were kids is, I won't say dying, but it's shrinking to a certain group of people, older people like your parents, my parents, maybe us too. I don't want to say we are older people, but referring to the target groups, we are older people. And yeah, you see, you have television on demand, you have video on demand, you have reading on demand. And so they are really, really open-minded to new ways of entertaining and of using their content and create something new and create something different, and which was sort of shocking for us because we were used to talk to the traditional book people in the past, and it's a lot of fun to talk with the entertainment people, and they are very creative. So you see that they understand what we are doing, what we want to do, and you can see the moment when it clicks in, and they are switching through the possibilities they are offered at a second, and that's really, really a fun way of working with companies together. And yeah, that's a totally new experience, and it gave us a really, really a boost of confidence because we believe in what we do. That's why we are doing it. But to get rejected and rejected and rejected, and you know what you want to do. We don't want to be the new book. We don't want to be the new movie. We don't want to be. No, we want to bring it together and make it enjoyable for everybody. And yeah, so the entertainment people are really understanding what we are doing and what we want to do. And that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah, and what I think we see also a part of what you were saying there. So like this, the concept of the linear TV, where you watch something at a specific time, in a specific order according to a specific schedule, that no longer fits in with our daily routines.
Yeah.
So as you said, on demand, being able to offer somebody the opportunity of deciding when they consume a certain kind of media. But what Lively Story at least is presenting to people is not simply a question of choosing what particular kind of media to enjoy. They have the option or ability to consume several different kinds of media at the same time, which really, it can also be obviously an intense experience, but very fulfilling and satisfying thereafter, I imagine.
Yeah, it is totally. I'm always liking to tell the story of one of our first stories, which Jasmin has written, is Creepy Friday, and I knew every point of that story because I put it in the back end. I obviously made the story a lively story, but when we watched it the first time together and the first scream came, we all were, oh my gosh, what was that? Until we realized, well, yes, that's obviously a part of the story. So this is something completely new. Because your phone gets a part of the story, so you get a part of the story. The incoming and outgoing call was obviously an idea that came to us because I have the golden talent to call Jasmin always when she's in a presentation, in a meeting. So it was always, oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. I have to say I cannot talk, and start the story again. And then we said, why don't make it a part of the story? So now it is, oh, your phone is ringing. No, it's part of the story. So it's a project that lives and that grows with a lot of fun ideas, and it is a very intense kind of reading for me. I love it a lot, which is something new for me because I'm a traditional reader. I love books. I love the smell, and I love to having something in my hand. And I won't admit that I wondered last week why it's getting darker and darker, and I cannot enlarge the letters. But I enjoy reading a book, and this is completely different. And it's really more than an entertainment, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. Recently, I say recently, the last year and a half or 2 years, maybe, I've been listening to audiobooks a lot more than reading, and I find there is a big difference in the enjoyment factor, because I think the people who read these audiobooks nowadays, they bring a talent to the experience. So it's no longer simply a question of me putting an imaginary voice into the story when I read it. You've got somebody who's actually performing. And just the audio element is extremely intense. So I can imagine by adding all of these other extra sensory elements, the intensity can be like, wow.
Yeah. You have always the issue while reading a book, for example, a fantasy book, to imagine all the castles and the forests and the snakes and the dragons and all of this. And it takes a little away from the fantasy, but it shows you how it looks like if the author wants to. So you don't longer have to think of the castle. Now you can see the castle. You can walk through the castle in a video. And that's something which I think is pulling you into the story. It's like somebody takes your hand and says, come on, let's go. And that's the biggest difference. You really become a part of the story through your phone, which is obviously always by our side.
Yeah, and always connected to a charger as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing some more of these of these stories. How would I say that nowadays? You wouldn't say expressed, communicate, presented, I guess. Presented, played. We have to come up with some new verbs, I think, with regards to stories, no?
Yeah, I think we have to create a new way of talking about stories after that. Mm-hmm. We always look for verbs or words to describe it properly, because you have to see it, you have to feel it, because your smartphone vibrates on some point of the story, which can be a fun element, which can be an annoying element. So if you think of a day where your phone is calling and calling and calling, and you read that in a story, so now your phone is really calling because you get the same amount of annoying like your hero you are reading the story of. And that's something never been before. It's something completely new, and we have to make up some new words for it. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame like words such as like fully immersive have already been used for different things, which were not even remotely as immersive as this experience will be. So, maybe some words will have to be reborn.
Yeah, I think.
Cool. Okay, all right. But it's also not just a question of you producing these sort of wonderfully intense storytelling techniques. You're also learning new things, aren't you, Julia?
Yes. I had a very fantastic idea to learn Korean. And started a few months ago and experienced a whole new way of reading and a way of expressing, because now I know where Yoda has his language style from. Um, Obviously, not only the Japanese, but also the Korean settings, putting the verbs at the end of the sentence. And yeah, it's. I know. I remember how it was to learn reading and writing in German, in English, in French, Italian, and Spanish a little bit, but this is completely different because it's different from anything we know, and you have to learn it from the scratch. And I try to get a proper handwriting, so after I'm able to write it, I'm hopefully able to read it a little bit better. And then we start with the vocabulary and watching fun TV shows in Korean with Korean subtitles.
Wow. Have you found a Korean individual with whom to have conversations and develop your sort of understanding of sound?
Not yet, unfortunately, but I have a lot of shows I can watch to listen, to learn, understand, and I think if I'm sure enough to understand, then I will be opener to talk.
Okay.
So because it's really hard to get the real pronunciation, and it's not that hard like Chinese, where a cha and a cha can mean two completely different words. It's interesting. But I like it a lot.
It's a wonderful challenge you've given yourself. I'm not sure that I could. Yeah, I appreciate how busy you must be. So I'm trying to figure out when you find the time to do this, because I mean, that's quite something.
Yeah. So you don't have to do that much at once. You have to do it constantly, 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. And so you have to get used to it. And I'm creating new routines for my day. So it helps me to empty my head in the evening. So I'm doing it in the evening, late in the evening, before I go to bed. I'm making 15 to 30 minutes writing my Hanguls, listen to I have found a really good podcast which helps me to understand the rules. And so it helps me to clear my mind and to focus on something new, because otherwise you are in a wheel and spinning all the days. And I've started writing again. This is what I'm doing in the first half of an hour in the morning. So I'm using creativity in the morning and in the evening to have a clear mind and to stay focused.
Very good. I've also begun writing a second story from my sort of lively story, so a sequel to The Tracker. But I've been so busy on doing other topics, I haven't been able to go back to it. But I really think it's about time I should, so that I can kind of make it coincide with some of the wonderful projects that you guys have got going on.
That would be wonderful. I would. It's been really, really difficult the last 2.5 years to write, because obviously we all had this pandemic thing which totally shaped our lives. And yeah, I think now it's the time to get back to the good things we had before and leave behind the bad things we obviously had to stop while the pandemic, and create something new. And I think 23 could be a good year to doing so, and starting all over again with a little bit more of, in German we said Demut. I don't know the English word. It's to recognize that you are blessed with a wonderful life, and
Appreciate.
from time to time to bow your head and say thank you to whatever you want to say thank you, to the universe, to God, or something else, for living here in Germany and be able to create wonderful things, and yeah, doing the things you love, and have a roof over your head. And
Yeah.
that's something we forgot almost. And the pandemic was at least good for showing us how good we all had it before. And I think that's why we should, yeah, be humbled and do something good from time to time, for not only for others but also for ourselves.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're completely correct. We have to appreciate the fact that we live in a situation where we are not only able to be creative, because we are in many ways protected by the society in which we live, but we are allowed to be expressive. We are free to express ourselves. And the concept that we should in some way limit our abilities to freely express ourselves just because tradition has laid that out for us, it's no longer a relevant limitation. So I think perhaps Lively Story in itself is a very innovative, natural development in the path of free expression.
Yeah. It combines the progression of technique with the progression of creativity.
Fantastic. And so, okay, so before you mentioned Stefan and has joined Jasmin. So now there are sort of two, as it were, supreme bosses, overlords of the project. How is it working with another person, as it were?
Well, we had last year really the time to get to know each other and start slowly working till all the drafts were made and till everything was fixed. And I like it a lot because it's a fresh air. It's like opening the window and letting in fresh air. So which is probably the German thing, belüften.
Yeah. I remember when winter mornings I'd wake up freezing because Lena had opened the window. I'm like, 1 minute, it's -20. But yeah, I think you're right. It's a very German thing.
And I like it a lot. I think he's a very kind person, has a lot of views we are sharing, and has two beautiful kids, which are really small, but lovely. I've seen some pictures. Unfortunately, he lives far away. I'm living in the Saarland, which is far from everything. So, but I like it a lot. It's taking a lot of pressure from our shoulders, and sharing the work of 5 through 3 people makes it easier for everyone. And obviously we found someone who isn't afraid of numbers, which is really a locked book for me. I'm not good at calculating, and I don't like it, and I'm not able to do it. And so he is the also creative part because he has some really, really good ideas, but he is also able to write a book with numbers. And that's something I think it's really impressive. And the only thing I'm always morning. No, I don't say it like that. He loves Excel files, and I hate them. That's I always say you're torturing me with Excel, but it makes sense to work with, so I'm bowing my head and said, okay, I don't like it, but we have to do it. So it's always something what you don't like, but it brings a lot of structure in the daily routines, which is really, really good because there is still a lot of work there and coming upon us, and to having someone who has an overview and a different view like Jasmin or I is something really, really good.
And can we talk about regions? Is that possible?
Region? Yeah.
Regions, like where currently the operations are and so on.
Well, we still have the plan to start in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, which is the language. It is the easiest part, but we won't never say never. So it's because we can make, or we are able. When I say we, I mean Jasmin and Stefan. To be part of the Startup Grid, which is a fair in the United States for investors. And we were told that it's one of those trades fairs where you have to be as a startup. And it's not that you can say, hi, here we are, and we want to join. No, you have to send a lot of documentary. You have to fill your application and they decide if they want you or don't want you. And I'm really, really proud to say that we are allowed to join. So we have our own stand and hopefully meet a lot of interested people. And yeah, it's really exciting. So they will fly to, I think it's San Francisco in April, and then we will see what comes next.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you could give me a few details to that as well, then I can put it into the episode notes. And yeah, I know a few people in the California area that might. Is it open? Is it open to the public or it's just for investors?
No, it's
just for the investors.
Closed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. My I don't know too many millionaires, unfortunately, but yeah, you never know. Somebody might know somebody else.
Always.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I'll put it in the episode notes anyway then. Yeah. All right. So then obviously plans, I mean, we've spoken about this obviously at some point in the past anyway, but there are plans then to expand to the English speaking world.
English speaking. We still have 3 languages in the app, so we are able to switch the focus a little bit. If we find an American investor, obviously we will switch the focus more to the English-speaking community. We are also able to switch to the Spanish-speaking community, and which will be a little not that easy because of the language barrier. I think my English writing and my English reading is much better than my talking, but it's still, you see when I write that that English is not my mother language, and that's the way of storytelling is a little bit different in the US and in the UK also than in Germany. So we have to find some authors then which are able to write the stories in English. And then we will translate it back and use it for the German market, because obviously the American way of storytelling works wonderfully in Germany. So we will do it other way around. But the plan is, but we know how it is with plans. The plan is to stay focused on Germany, Austria, and Switzerland for the first bigger rollout and for the first contracts and everything. But never say never. And if a rich American guy thinks it's great to invest in a small German startup in the entertainment business, yeah, let's switch to the US, which is fine too. So then I have to stop the Korean language training and make an English training, a business talk training.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think I know somebody that might be able to help with that. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's a different topic. It's different.
I've heard, I know some people who are able to talk really good English.
Good. Yeah, cool. All right. What else, sort of future plans wise, are you allowed to tell us about?
Well, it's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I can say is that we are planning a bigger rollout and we are back in July. So we will publish some edited story and hopefully some really brand new stories, which the world has never seen before. And yeah, that's what I'm able to say, what I'm allowed to say. And hopefully we should have June for the next podcast,
Okay.
I think. So hopefully then I can have some parts from the cliffhanger, which I'm able to tell you. It's so mean. I want so bad to talk about it, and I'm not allowed to. It's something new. But what I can tell you also is that we are still want to work with self-publishing authors. It's in the business plan. It's called the Lively Creators, and not only authors but also movie makers, students from the academies, and yeah. And so if someone hears it and is interested in trying to create a new way of storytelling with us, so don't hesitate to call us, write us, and yeah, so hopefully we can make some originals this year. Originals are stories created by us and completely made from us, and we have a lot of ideas, so we need some people who writes them for us. The drawer is full with good ideas and with pieces of paper with story plots, and yeah, so that's something we really want to do, working together with students from filming academies and with script authors, because it's a good way for them to train their abilities and to be able to earn some money with their ideas without having those big amount of costs they have if they want to make a full movie or something like that, or a series. And so we also make the edutainment sector we already talked about. So there are a few ideas we want to try, and that's something we're gonna start by the I think the end of the year. So we need a little rest from time to time, and
Understandably, and well deserved, of course. Cool. All right. In that case, Julia, I'm very much looking forward to our June
yeah,
episode and chat
yeah,
number 4. I mean, as is clear, we will also stay in touch in the
of
meantime and
course.
see how things develop. But yeah, thank you very much. It's always great to hear where you guys are going. Because there's a very long string that kind of pulls me along a little bit as well. So I'm sort of floating around in the background. But it's great to hear how you and Jasmin are sort of powering on ahead, and now of course with Stefan too, and the others who are in the
Yeah,
team who I don't know, but who are obviously there and working away like little beavers. So I wish you all success. Good luck as well in Frisco in April.
thanks a lot.
Yeah, and then we'll see what happens in June.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it very much as well.
Me too,
And
as always.
yeah, hopefully we have a lot more to tell in June. Fingers are crossed.
Excellent. Take care, Julia. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Two and a mic.